Train your mind, evaluate your game, and dominate your life. Let me ask you something. When pressure hits, who do you become? If you want to perform under pressure, if you want to build confidence that lasts, if you want to separate yourself from average, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Mental Toughness by Coach P podcast, where athletes, coaches, leaders, and high performers come to train the one thing that controls everything, your mind. Each episode delivers real strategies you can apply immediately. Mental performance training, resilience and confidence, a growth mindset built on grit, and how to handle pressure and build championship habits. Hey, this isn't hype. This is training for your mind. Stop letting your past hold you back. Start building resilience today. Start becoming the version of you that performs when it matters most. For everything we offer, courses, books, mental performance training, visit our website, www.inspiringthem.com. That's inspiringthem.com. Remember now, train your mind, control your mindset, and go dominate your life. Here is this week's podcast. Well, welcome back out there. This is Coach P, Jim Pusateri. Last week's podcast was built for the spotlight. We're going to go to part 2 of that subject right now. And this week's podcast will be when life puts you under the spotlight. Yes, last week was built for the spotlight. Today we're talking about life that puts you under the spotlight. The lessons of pressure do not end when the game clock reaches 0. In many ways, the greatest pressure moments in life have nothing to do with the sports. There are no stadium lights, no cheering crowds, no scoreboards, no trophies just waiting to be lifted. Just real life. And real life has a way of placing all of us under a spotlight when we least expect it. Sometimes that spotlight arrives as an opportunity. Sometimes it arrives as responsibility. And sometimes it arrives disguised as adversity. Most of the time, we don't recognize it immediately. We simply know something feels different. The stakes feel higher. The consequences feel heavier. The pressure feels real. And suddenly, we discover whether we truly trust ourselves. I once spoke with a man whose life changed almost overnight. For years, he had done everything right. He worked hard, provided for his family, built a successful career, created stability. From the outside, everything appeared secure. Then one unexpected event changed everything. The career he had spent years building disappeared. The paycheck stopped. The certainty vanished. And suddenly, he found himself standing beneath the spotlight he never wanted. The spotlight of uncertainty, the spotlight of fear, the spotlight of responsibility. At first, he responded the way many people do. He worried, he doubted, he questioned himself, he replayed decisions, he imagined worst-case scenarios. What if I never recover? What if I fail? What if I can't provide? What if this setback defines me? The questions kept coming, and the pressure kept growing. Sound familiar? Because pressure often pulls our attention towards things we cannot control. The future, the outcome, the uncertainty, the possibilities. And when our focus shifts towards things we cannot control, fear gains strength. And eventually, however, something changed. Not his circumstances, his mindset. One morning, he decided to stop trying to solve the next 5 years and focus on winning the next day. One application, one phone call, one conversation, one opportunity, one day at a time. And little by little, momentum returned. Then confidence returned. Not because certainty returned, because trust returned. He began proving to himself that he could handle difficult situations. He began discovering strengths he didn't know he possessed. Years later, he told me something remarkable. Looking back, losing that job may have been one of the best things that ever happened to me. How could that be? Because adversity forced growth. Pressure revealed strength. The spotlight introduced him to a version of himself he had never met before. And that's one of the greatest gifts pressure provides. Pressure reveals capabilities we don't even know exist. Pressure develops resilience, comfort never could. Pressure teaches lessons success never can. Sometimes life's greatest spotlight arrives disguised as adversity. Yes, folks. So let's talk a little bit about leadership in the spotlight. But you know what? I'm going to take a break because I want you to hear about the free booklet you can get that'll help you gain that perfect mindset, that mental toughness, that ability to move forward under pressure. Listen up to this message and get that free booklet today. We'll be right back. You can have all the talent in the world, all the training, and all the experience. But if you can't handle pressure, adversity, and doubt, you'll never reach your true potential. That's where the inner game comes in. Mental performance is the hidden edge. It's what separates those who rise from those who fold. The mentally tough don't break under pressure. They grow through it. They push forward when others stop. And that's exactly why the power of the Inner Game booklet was created. This free resource will help you strengthen your mindset, take control of your thinking, and unlock the performance level you're capable of. Get your free copy today because the battle is won in your mind. Hit that link in the show notes below for your free copy. Hey, Coach P here, Jim Pusateri, and we are back at Inspirational University, the home of the Mental Toughness by Coach P podcast, books, and courses. Leadership in the spotlight. Pressure becomes even more significant when other people depend on you. Now the spotlight is no longer just about your performance. It's about your influence. It's about your leadership. And leadership may be the greatest spotlight of all because leadership carries responsibility. People are watching, people are listening, and people are learning. People are drawing conclusions from how you respond when the pressure arrives. One of the most important leadership lessons I've learned over the years is this. People borrow confidence from leaders. Athletes borrow confidence from coaches. Children borrow confidence from parents. And employees borrow confidence from supervisors. Students borrow confidence from teachers. When uncertainty rises, people look for stability. When adversity appears, people look for confidence. When pressure increases, people look for belief. And often, they look to the leader first. I've seen it happen hundreds of times on the football sidelines. The score isn't favorable. Momentum shifts. Mistakes happen. Doubt begins creeping into the minds of the players. And suddenly, every eye turns towards the coaching staff. The players are not simply looking for strategy. They're looking for belief. They're asking a silent question. Coach, do you still believe? Most of the time, that question is never spoken, but it is felt, and the answer is communicated long before words are ever used, through body language, through composure, and through confidence, because confidence is contagious, but so is fear. Belief is contagious, but so is doubt. Great leaders understand this. That's why they work so hard to remain composed under pressure. Not because they never feel fear, because they understand people are watching. People borrow confidence from leaders long before they borrow strategy. The greatest leaders are rarely remembered because they had all the answers. They are remembered because they provided stability when everyone else felt uncertainty. They created confidence instead of chaos. They inspired belief instead of fear. And that's what pressure reveals. Not titles, not authority, not status. Pressure reveals leadership. So learn to bet on yourself. Yes, perhaps one of the greatest spotlights in life appears when you must decide whether or not you believe in yourself. Not when success is guaranteed, not when risk is absent, but when uncertainty exists. I once spoke with an entrepreneur who faced exactly that decision. He had a secure career, a stable income, a predictable future, yet deep inside, he knew there was something more. A dream, a vision, a business he wanted to build. For months he wrestled with the decision, and one day he felt courageous. The next day he felt afraid. One day he saw opportunity. The next day he saw risk. Finally, he made a statement that changed everything. If I fail, I will recover. Oh, please remember that. If I fail, I will recover. But if I never try, I'll regret it forever. Let me say it one more time. It's so important. If I fail, I'll recover. But if I never try, I'll regret it forever. The statement captures the mindset of someone who's built for the spotlight. Not fearless, willing. Not certain, committed. Not guaranteed, courageous. The decision didn't eliminate pressure. It gave pressure purpose. And that changed everything. The business wasn't immediately successful. There were setbacks, unexpected expenses, long nights, moments of doubt, moments when quitting seemed easier than continuing. Yet every obstacle strengthened him. Every challenge expanded his confidence. Every setback developed resilience. Years later, he told me, the greatest thing I built wasn't the business. The greatest thing I built was myself. What a powerful lesson. The greatest thing I built wasn't the business. The greatest thing I built was myself. Because success is rarely about what we accomplish. Success is often about who we become. The greatest risk isn't failure. The greatest risk is never discovering what you're capable of becoming. Yes, folks, as athletes grow older, they often discover something surprising. Very few people remember the statistics. Years after the final game, people rarely talk about numbers. What they remember is the person. They remember leadership. They remember character. And they remember effort. They remember influence. They remember how someone made others feel. You see, that's a legacy. And legacy may be one of the most overlooked aspects of performance. Because while performance creates moments, legacy creates impact. Think about the people who influenced your life, the coaches you remember, the teachers you remember, the leaders you remember. What stands out most? Probably not the statistics, probably not their accomplishments. What you remember is how they treated people. What you remember is how they responded during difficult times. What you remember is how they made others better. That's legacy. And pressure has a way of revealing legacy long before people realize they're actually building one. Every pressure-filled moment becomes an opportunity to demonstrate values. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to reveal character. And every setback becomes an opportunity to model resilience. The spotlight doesn't simply reveal performance. The spotlight reveals influence. One of my favorite things about coaching is seeing former players years after they leave the program. Some become successful athletes. Some become business leaders. Some become teachers. And some become parents. Some become community leaders. You see, their paths are different. Their careers are different. Their accomplishments are different. But the individuals who make the greatest impact often share something in common. They learned lessons bigger than football. They learned accountability. They learned discipline, perseverance, leadership, and resilience. Those lessons continue influencing people long after the final game. That's legacy. The spotlight fades, folks. The person you become lasts forever. Football eventually ends. Every season ends. Every championship becomes history. But who you become lasts. The habits you built last. The character you develop last. The influence you create last. Long after the scoreboard goes dark. Long after the crowd goes home. Long after people forget the final score. The person remains. And ultimately, that person becomes your legacy. You see, folks, pressure reveals preparation. Pressure reveals confidence. Pressure reveals leadership. And pressure reveals character. Pressure reveals your legacy. And ultimately, pressure reveals who you're going to become. Which brings us to the final lesson of this area on the spotlight. The spotlight isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. Yes, folks, the spotlight isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. Be on the lookout a week from Wednesday after this one drops for the next part. This will be part 3 of building that spotlight. Hope you have a great day now. Be sure you're going to move forward and keep building that legacy. Coach P, have a good one. What separates those who succeed from those who fall short? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's mental toughness. In Mental Toughness by Coach P book, you'll discover how to build the mindset, discipline, and resilience needed to push through adversity and perform at your highest level, on the field, in the classroom, or in life. This isn't just a book, it's a blueprint on how to think, respond, and grow under pressure. And if you're ready to go even further, Coach P's 12-volume Mental Performance Series, volume number 1, is now out. It delivers 12 chapters, powerful lessons to help you break mental barriers and build winning habits that last. Take the next step in your journey. Get your copy of our books today over on Amazon. The links are in the show notes below. Transform your mindset and transform your life.